shell. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. Might not have to see the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. Might not have to see the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. Money. That's all you got to say. Wrong being wealthy. Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. You don't like money so much, why do you get up and go to work? Yes, I do think about all the things that my thinking out today. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. It's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. Now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Trey Cortez.
Good morning. It is your main man here, H. Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class, and you're checking out Talking Money in the Morning live. So glad to have you with us here. If you're on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, wherever the show may be embedded, whether you're watching live or whether you are watching the rebroadcast, we love you and we thank you for tuning in. Let me jump over to Twitter real quick because that's the best way to interact with the show, is that if you tweet at Cortez Springer, got questions, comments, maybe we'll get a chance to get to a little bit more of your questions and comments. So I've got my Twitter feed open. So if you tweet at Cortez Springer on Twitter, you can interact with the show. Today we have a live wire show for you today because we're talking about what the heck is your problem with money. All right, we know that a lot of people have problems with money, so we'll get into that a little bit. But I always like to open this show with telling you who this show is for. This show is for those who are ready to rise and grind this morning. This show is for those who understand the importance of creating a legacy for their family. So they're doing all that they can to learn how it works in this country, learn how to obtain money, learn how to earn money more efficiently. So this show is dedicated to you. You're working hard every day, but there are some things that you can do to make that, those efforts go a lot further in the terms of getting your financial situation under control and actually getting it to a place where you have abundance in your life. So this show is for you. Now, this show is usually not for the people who have an issue with money. It's usually not for the people who think wealthy people are snobs. It's usually not for the people who have a problem with other people going after money or wealth. It's usually not for the people who will get ticked off at the fact that I just said money 13 times in the last 30 seconds, right? But today's episode, we want to talk directly to those people because we want to know what the real problem is with money. I have some things that I think when I deal with and encounter people who have those kinds of thoughts and reservations about money. But again, these are just my opinion, so you can't really you take it with a grain of salt. So today we want to talk a little bit about that, what the true problem is with people who seem to have an issue with money. And more importantly, I don't have a problem with you having an issue with money, but why do you have a problem with me going after wealth and building a legacy for my family? So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So again, welcome to the show. I'm H. Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. I'm an author, wealth building strategist, entrepreneur, father, husband, youth basketball coach, friend, mentor. I wear a lot of hats, but I love teaching on the subject of money and how you can use some simple strategies, Periscope, to take your financial situation to another level. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into it, let me give a shout out to my sponsors for today's show. Today's show is sponsored by Young Biz Kids. Young Biz Kids is a nonprofit organization here in the St. Louis metro area, and they teach entrepreneurship to children. And I think that is super cool. In fact, I was with them over the weekend shooting some promo videos for them. as they're preparing for their first ever event. And it's a Young Biz Kids marketplace where they will be setting up vendor booths, farmers market style, and be displaying their goods and services, interacting with the public for the first time. So a lot of these kids are really shy, but we're helping them overcome that kind of stuff. So if you want to know more about Young Biz Kids, go to www.youngbizkids.org, and that's kids with a Z, so KIDZ.org. And if you're in the St. Louis area, you can definitely get your kid plugged into the program. If you're outside of the St. Louis area, give us another 2 or 3 weeks where we'll start streaming live the classes that we teach to the Young Biz Kids, and then you can partake anywhere in the world. So shout out to my sponsor, Young Biz Kids. All right, guys, let's get into today's show, today's topic. What the heck is your problem, man, with money? I don't know if you've ever experienced it, and I don't know which side of the table you fall on when you're viewing the show today. Some of us are aggressively pursuing wealth so that we can build legacy and leave legacies for our families. Some of you may have been tuning in just because you want to hear what I have to say about the people who have problems with money, right? But I've encountered people who say, all you do is talk about money, man. Don't let money consume you. Money isn't everything. Money can't buy you happiness, man, and things of that nature. And I wrote down a couple notes, man, and I just want to talk about a few of these things. And I think when it comes to these people, some of the same people that will say something like, the Bible says money is the root of all evil, and of course, the real quote is the love of money is the root of all evil. So you have to put that in its proper context. But the same Bible also says God gives us the ability to gain wealth. And I believe that's Deuteronomy 8:18. The same Bible also says money answers all things. So I don't have the scriptural reference for that. So I understand that there are some if you read certain parts of the Bible, and that might confuse you, because there is also a passage that said it's going to be easier for a man to pass through a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter heaven. And that is a direct quote from Jesus. So I understand where people are coming with the conflict. But again, in one breath, we will quote that the rich man won't go to heaven. But in the next breath, we will celebrate King Solomon, for being one of the richest man in the world, right? So if we know that King Solomon was the richest man in the world, and also one of the wisest men in the world, I don't think anybody doubts that King Solomon gets to enter the gates of heaven. And I don't think anybody thinks that because of his riches, he is not going to enter the gates of heaven. So we have to start putting this stuff into proper context. I do believe wholeheartedly that the scriptures put money in a proper context. In fact, the scripture has over 2,000 verses on money and fiscal accountability. And when you think about verses on faith, verses even on salvation and things like that, the number of verses are slim in comparison. So I think to have money is not an issue, but it goes back to one of the 10 commandments: do not have anything above thy God. So if you're starting to put money above your love for God, then that's where the problem runs into. But I think, a lot of times when we're talking about this issue of money, I think most people who have a problem with money actually have an internal problem with themselves. And let me explain what I mean by that. What I mean is, a lot of people only know one way to earn money, and that's through a job. And sometimes, because I can only earn money through a job, I may be looking at my own job situation and saying there's no way in the world I can ever attain any real wealth or riches by working this job, so I'm not even gonna try. And in fact, it burns me up to even see other people trying. So I think that's one of the problems. But if you start to understand that there is way more than just one way to earn money, especially if you're here in America. I mean, literally, there's a million and one ways to become wealthy in this country. So I think the problem that a lot of people have with money are internal problems, internal struggles that they need to overcome. Because again, if you don't want to be wealthy, that is perfectly fine with me. What I will never do though is be mad at you for not wanting to be wealthy, right? And some of these people who have issues with money, they take those issues and they have issues with people with money. And I don't think that's a fair assessment or a fair approach to have an issue with people who have money, because most of these people who have attained any level of wealth, success financially, they've worked extremely hard for it and overcome a lot of challenges to get there. You know, another thing, it shines a light on you if you're not willing to step outside of your comfort zone, and I am. And because I step out of my comfort zone, it starts to allow me to achieve some things financially. And I think that is another thing, that when people are looking at people, especially in their influence, you're talking about friends, family members, when they see you start having success in an area of business or finance, they internalize that and believe that it's shining a negative light on their lack of finance or business success, and that's not the case. So I think most people who have issues with money have some internal problems. Again, if you want to interact with the show, then you tweet me at Cortez Springer. You know, I know today is kind of a polarizing topic. There are people who are on the side of the fence and says, you know what, you know, you don't have to have all of this money. You take somebody like Bill Gates and someone like Warren Buffett. Yeah, I'm probably going to stop at my first billion. I don't need 80. But you know, that's their prerogative, and I don't think it was their intention to have that sort of wealth. I just think that they put business systems in place that skyrocketed, and once you put a business system in place like they have, you can't stop the money from rolling in. Again, and then we'll also talk about this from this perspective. When you have an open heart to receive abundance, then abundance will find you in a lot of cases if you're putting in the work. So they put in the work, provide a service to the masses, and an abundance found them to a limit that is basically almost unable to be counted. Let's see. Another thing that a lot of people have who have problems with money is they confuse and combine, or they look at being humble and they equate that with poverty. All right, they look at equating humility with poverty, and man, no, that's not good, because you're saying that a wealthy man cannot be humble, and you're saying that a humble man who is impoverished can never ascend to wealth, and you know, I don't think that's a fair assessment either, because I am extremely humble, and when I become a billionaire, I'm going to be equally as humble. There's an old saying that simply says, money does not change you, it simply reveals who you are. So if you're dealing with people who are prideful, boastful, arrogant with money, those people were prideful, boastful, arrogant before they had money. Money just exposed who they really are. So I believe there are tons of people who are humble, and if they became wealthy, they would still remain humble. They would just be humble and wealthy at the same time. So we can't confuse, or we can't necessarily equate humility to poverty. All right, there's some people who are humble and they just happen to be in an impoverished state and they are content there. But there are also people like me who are humble, and I'm not content with my impoverished state. So I want to attain more. And I don't think I should be judged for that one way or the other. And then let's talk about what money really is. Money really is simply just a resource. It's a tool. And the same people who say, you know, money ain't everything. You can't buy love with money. You can't buy happiness with money and all of that kind of stuff. Those same people in the same breath will turn right around and tell you, and with exceeding joy, how they just saved $10 because they had a coupon, or how they just bought their big screen TV and they saved $50 because it was on sale. Now, wait a minute. You don't want to do anything that will to go after wealth, but at the same time, you don't miss an opportunity to save $5 or $10. So that to me says that there is something wrong in the internals of that person. And I believe that it really comes down to most people just not wanting to do what it takes to become wealthy. So they kind of cast that onto other people and discourage other people from doing what it takes to attain wealth. And that's where the real problem lies. But again, money is just a resource, right? And who does not want to have an abundance or overflow of resources, right? There's no such thing as anybody who wants only enough money to pay their bills, right? Because if that's the case, you could give some of your job income back, right? Because if all you wanted was just the money, just to pay your bills, then when you get your check on your job, pay all of your bills for the week and then send the rest back. Who does that? Nobody, right? Because they know what money is. Money is a resource, and using this resource can literally take you to another level. Now, I will tell you why my quest to become wealthy is such a burning desire for me, is because I know that money, the resource of money, allows me to buy my most valuable asset and my most valuable resource. And what is that? My most valuable resource and my most valuable asset is time, right? Your most valuable asset, your most valuable resource is also time. And here's what's so funny about time, right? None of us know how much of it we have left, right? It'll be a different story if I don't know if you watched the movie. It has something to do with time, and basically they could see on their wrists exactly how much time they had left before they expired, and they could go buy more time or steal more time or whatever the case was. That's not the case for us. I don't know how much time I have left to put my family in a position so that when I do depart, they won't have to struggle. So I'm using all the time and resources that I have now to make that happen for them. And maybe I get to a place where I get to enjoy some of that fruit of that labor before I actually expire, right? So if time is your most valuable resource and your most valuable asset, why not do everything with the time that you have to figure out how to buy more time? And when I say buy more time, I'm not talking about extending the life, because I think that is truly in the hands of God, and you never know when you're going to check out of here. But what I do mean is that with the 24 hours that you have in a day, if you have the ability to earn the monthly income that you're living off of right now, if you can earn that monthly income in 2 hours, then why would you continue to go give up 160 hours a month working 40 hours a week, and you can earn that same income in 2 hours? That wouldn't make any sense, right? Well, money and the resource of money will allow you to do that. If I can be more efficient, right? Because as a husband, as a father, the book I read says my primary duties, God-given duties, are to provide and protect. Now, what it didn't say is how I am to best fulfill that duty. What it did say is how I'm not supposed to fulfill that duty, meaning I should maintain integrity, I should maintain character, I should maintain humility in my pursuit to execute on those duties. so I can be as efficient as possible when it comes to fulfilling those duties. And providing, if I can make enough money in a couple hours a week that lasts me for a month, that just makes sense. Because here's what that does. It allows me to not only provide for my family, but it allows me to also be in a position to better protect them. Why? Because I'm actually around. Some of us have jobs that causes us to travel. Some of us have jobs that we work 60 hours a week. Some of us have jobs in town, but because traffic, we actually are 2 hours going to work, 2 hours coming back just for traffic. And then we put in 8 hours there. So that's a 12-hour day away from our family. And how are you able to really protect them when you have to spend that much time away from them? So wealth and money as a resource will allow you to buy your time back. And that time allows you to do your duties better, which your duties are what? Provide and protect. One of the things that I'm required to provide for my family is emotional support. When I'm absent, how can I do that? When my son bumps his toe and he needs someone to sit down and talk to and figure out, when my sons are arguing one with another and they need someone to sit down and talk to, sometimes they can't call me because I can't answer my phone at work, right? So having money and your resources set up will put you in position to fulfill your duties a lot better and a lot more efficient. So we're talking about money as a resource. We're talking about people who have issues with money. Now, I don't want you to get that I have issues with those people. Again, if you are content in your state, wherever that is, and that doesn't mean you have to be poor. You could be middle class, upper middle class, and just cool where you are. I do not have a problem with you, but I do have a problem with you having a problem with me because I want to be a billionaire, because that's my aspiration. So I don't like people who, cast judgment on me because that's where I want to go. That's the vision that I see for my future. And you negatively stereotype somebody like me because you've seen an arrogant guy on TV with a bunch of money, and you assume that I want to be a billionaire to buy a bunch of stuff. All right, that's not the case. I have some other goals and dreams, and I think that actually lines up with my calling on this, and my purpose on this actual earth is to have an abundance of resources so I can execute some of the things that I believe I was called here to do. So there's nothing wrong with money, having money. Again, it allows you to buy more time. It allows you to have the resources. It allows you to, build a legacy for your family, right? Think about this. How many of you are doing today exactly what it is that you wanted to do your entire life? I mean, when you were kids, you had dreams and goals. And I'm not talking about when you were at that stage and you wanted to be a superhero. All right. That's not the dreams and goals that I'm talking about. When you finally start to figure some things out and you said, you know what, I love art. I would love to just be able to sit back and just paint all day, draw all day. How many of you guys are doing that? And why aren't you doing that? For the most part, is because you have to go and earn a living. Right? What if you doing your art, and here's what's significant, because I believe that we have passions for a reason. I believe you have your passion because it's going to lead you to your purpose. But when you don't follow that passion, you never be led to your purpose. Because your passion is art and you're supposed to be doing something with art, painting, drawing, something in that realm, maybe it's going to connect you with the person that's going to help guide you to your actual purpose. But because you can't follow that passion, because you have to go to work so that you can feed the kids, pay a mortgage, and all of that kind of stuff, it maybe is distracting you from your passion. So what I'm saying is, it may negate you from fulfilling your purpose, but what if you were able to get money as an issue out of the way? What if you were able to set up the trust fund for the children, so as they grow and they start figuring out their passions, they don't have to go and chase a dollar. They can actually go and chase their dreams. They can chase those passions, and those passions will lead them to their purpose because they don't have to chase a dollar. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about building wealth, getting money as an issue out of the way. Those are some of the things that most people don't look at because they see money and they equate money with consumerism. All right. But guess what? All of the churches, all of the outreach programs, all of the missions, you know what? Somebody has to fund all of that stuff, right? Somebody has to back that stuff with money, not just the volunteers donating their time. Someone has to be able to pay for them to get on the plane and go and fly and complete these missions. So there has to be somebody with an abundance and overflow of resources to help get that accomplished. So that's all we're talking about. We're talking about building wealth and why I don't believe there's anything wrong with building wealth, just like I don't believe there's anything wrong with being content where you are financially. If you are making $20,000 a year, all of your bills are paid, you get to treat your kids the way you want to treat your kids, there's no stress because you're not stressed about money in any capacity. It's not putting a strain on your marriage. It's not putting a strain on any of your relationships. And you are happy right where you are making 20 grand a year. I don't have a problem with that. I don't want you to be wealthy if you don't want to be wealthy, right? But what happens is people who are content in that life tend to look at me differently because I want a little bit more. And I think that is a problem. I don't think there's anything wrong with people aspiring to be wealthy. Are there some people who will become morons or become bigger morons when they become wealthy? Yes, but that's who they are now. They're morons now. All right. So becoming wealthy is just going to probably make them bigger morons. But I don't think there's a problem with that. So I'm Ace Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. You're checking out Talking Money in the Morning. So as we wind down, guys, I hopefully I didn't bore you because this is an exciting topic where I'm giving you tips and strategies to actually become wealthy. But on your quest, you're going to encounter people like this. And that's why I'm very particular about who I share my dreams with, right? Because sometimes small-minded people, their minds aren't big enough to receive such a big dream. And the first thing, because their mind isn't big enough to receive it, is they don't want to snatch it away from you. So be careful who you share your dreams and goals with. Be careful who you have in your circle, because if they are not willing to support and or help you achieve your goals, it may be time for you to redraw your circle of friends. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you're on a mission to get to where you want to be in life. And if there are people hindering you from getting there or slowing you down, I don't think there's a problem with you distancing yourself from those people. Now, am I saying I'm cutting them off completely? Sometimes you may have to, but most times you don't. You just continue to pursue your deal, and their inner convictions will actually cause them to separate themselves from you, because you're going to be encouraging and motivating them to continue to move forward in their life and pursue their passions. And if that's not something they're ready for, they're going to draw back from you every time. I promise you. So, guys, really quick, another shout out to my sponsor, Young Biz Kids. If you want to know more about them, go to youngbizkids.org, and that's kids with a Z. So glad that you guys hung out with me again this morning on Talking Money in the Morning. I'm your main man, H. Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. We are officially at the bottom of the hour. So as we close the show, I want to let you know always to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. Love you guys. Thanks for checking us out. And tomorrow's show, we'll be talking about the power of credit and why it is a good idea to pursue a really good credit score and how that can help you on your way to building wealth. So I'm out of here, man. Until tomorrow, peace out.